right?
Subconsciously, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
subconsciously.
things happen the way you're supposed to.
I think, and I don't know, I'm just speaking just a little bit from, we do have a resignation from the park manager at this point in time. Until we find out what the new contract is and resolve that, I can understand, you know, if there's a wish to hold up on this until we figure out how we're going to handle that, and if we get any applicants for that particular position, and that's just my thoughts.
I kind of feel like I don't really have a good context, good sense of the overall situation. Maybe that's my fault, but I'm a little uncomfortable just acting on it right now.
Well, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. In the affirmative, like Brenda said, we make all of our motions in the affirmative to go ahead with this. Is there any more discussion? Anyone else?
I think maybe might be better just to postpone the decision. I mean, if there does need to be, maybe there's a good reason for it. I don't sense that we don't have a good feel for.
But at this time, I mean, you could always bring it back again at a later meeting. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't.
you can.
This is
If
something
it's
we
something that
postponed
comes
once
up.
already to December 3rd. It is not something that's a pressing motion. If we found out that we absolutely needed another part-time employee, which we'd say is a 50%, but it's actually three-quarter, it's 75% when you throw in all the benefits that go along with it.
Well,
A little bit of background, which I won't say, but I would be not in favor of this.
I just did a little bit of penciling here the other day, and I was just thinking, if they would start, let's say at $15 an hour, and by the time we put in the benefits, we're looking at a $50,000-$60,000 employee. That's what we're talking about. I mean, that adds up in a hurry, and so that's what we're dealing with here. Is another. I don't know.
We would be better off.
City's hitting the buttons over here already, but isn't that just in
You're
the
right.
neighborhood?
When you move an employee to full-time, the benefits play a large portion of our cost, ongoing cost.
Yep.
As an employer, I would stick with part-time people due to the benefits and the cost of operations. And so in the efforts of saving the county money, we're better off with 2 part-time employees than we are with 1 full-time.
All right, is there any more discussion? Good discussion. All right, let's read the motion again, just so everybody knows how to vote.
The motion is just to move a seasonal employee to full-time status.
So a yes vote would support that, a no vote would deny that.
No.
Should we do?
Just for clarification, this can be revisited if we get new information, because I know how I'm going to vote, and it's not going to be to support this today. However, if information is revealed that comes to light that this is absolutely something that we need and we don't have the information on it now, I would like to be presented with that. So
It can be put back on again
put it back
at a
on,
later
so.
date.
All right, any more discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no.
No.
No carries, so the motion is defeated. All right, let's go on then to, should we just take a minute? Rick, have you got something for us? Can we deviate from the normal agenda and get a report, since Rick is here and he's got roads to plow and sand and stuff to do, so.
Well, I talked to Mr. Argo. The only thing, placing the pipe and all that, it was in his bid. The only thing that when he got inside the road, if the material needed to be exchanged for different material, if it's all mud underneath there, he'd ask for a change order for material to be hauled in and placed, as to using what was previously under the road.
And did he have any idea what that number would be? Probably not, huh?
No, not right off the top of his head.
Yeah,
So
but there's still a real...
there's like
despair.
$46,600 and some odd dollars difference from his bid to the next bid.
So what is your recommendation? Or do you want to think about that and come back, or do you know now what you would recommend?
Well, when I was talking to him, he was pretty confident that it'd be lower than the next bid, but that, I'm not sure what,
I mean, did they go out and look at the site and?
yes. Most of them did, yes.
Most, so
Because I
we
had
don't know.
calls even yesterday that they were still looking at the site, so.
Because that would be important that they were out there and actually was on
Yep.
site. And that might be determined why some of these,
Yep,
We asked for bids for a completed job though, right?
yes.
but if he's going to ask for a change order, I mean, there's a possibility.
Yep. And we can,
How much, I mean, change orders are subject to other action if they're going to be a certain percentage of the total job, I believe. You might want to read up on change orders in the bid booklet.
Yeah, I would
I
say.
can't
don't know
tell you
how
right
much-
off the top of my head, but I know if it's going to be a huge amount.
Well, all the change orders got, well,
Yeah,
we were
had to do
doing
all
in
of them for
court.
the- yeah, for
But
the court.
those were not, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, the change orders you did were under the percentage that,
Yeah,
of the total
yeah.
cost
Oh,
of the
okay.
project.
Gotcha.
What a change order for this project would cost, I
Could be
mean,
a whole
compared to
different
some of
thing.
these other bids. I don't know if you're comfortable.
yeah, because one of the other bids, it was around $21,000 for material for underneath the pipe and around the pipe,
Right.
you know, so.
And the thing is then what if we get to a point and it's quite a large amount? I mean, we're kind of stuck to.
And this bid could be thrown out.
It's it's kind of a backdoor way of bidding. You didn't bid a complete project like the other guys bid, and then you want to go for a change order, which wasn't mentioned in the original bid.
Let's see, so that's, okay. And he said he'd been out to look at the site and everything, so. Do you have a recommendation?
How soon can these guys start?
He said he could start as soon as the location was done. There's a power line on the east side, as soon as the locates were done.
Okay,
Which would be, what's today, Tuesday, it'd be Thursday afternoon.
What's the discrepancy between him and the next lowest bidder?
The next-
$46,600.
$46,000? So,
Yeah, that's
a lot of
big
material.
number.
Okay, so any amendment or change order to an existing contract for construction, reconstruction, or remodeling of a public improvement does not need to be bid if the contract contains unit prices for the same type of work. The change or extra work is necessitated by circumstances relating to soils, utilities, or unknown conditions directly affecting the performance of the work that were not reasonably foreseeable at the time that the underlying contract was let, and the change of extra work is necessary to the completion of the public improvement, so you don't have to rebid for that. The sum of the proposed amendment or change order, plus the sum of all other prior unbid amendments, does not exceed the following: for contracts less than $500,000, the greater of $25,000, or 15% of the base contract.
All right, I'll tell you.
Because when I talked to him, he was planning on using the material that came out of the ground to go back in the ground, depending on what it's like when he gets in there, you know, because some of it's going to be below the water surface, so that could either be dry or it
He
could
will
be.
need to provide the county with a certificate of liability insurance and workman's comp.
That's 15%, city?
15% or 25, the greater of 25,000 or 15%.
It'll be $2,127.57, or 15%.
The greater of. So it'd be
Okay,
25,000.
that'd be, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
does not exceed the greater of 25,000 or 15%. So if
that'd
it
be
does not
25,000.
exceed 25,000,
So you could add
then the
25,000
change order
onto
does
that,
not need to be,
and we're still $46,000
does not need to be
difference.
bid.
And is the bid bond for that, is that covered under that 14,000 figure, or is that gonna be covered with that change order? Gonna have to have
I'm
an additional
guessing the
bond.
bid bond is based on his bid.
Yeah, and he just has a check in the amount of
Yeah, that'd be 39,183.
709.19.
5%.
5%.
Yeah. Does
Your
he
thoughts
have,
on this, Rick?
What's that?
Your thoughts on
Would you
this?
like us to go ahead with something or postpone? I mean, if
Like, just so we can get it going.
Want to
but-
get going.
yeah.
does he have adequate equipment to get the job done? I mean, we never asked that in the bid, of course, but, you know,
Well, to bid the job, he should have
Yeah.
adequate equipment, so.
does it run?
How about these other bidders? Are all of them able to do the project immediately, or?
That, I did not call the rest of them.
To see.
I just, to see when they'd be able to start.
Right. Is this somebody new, or are they kind of been doing this sort of thing for a while, or?
He's had a construction company for quite a while.
Okay.
All right, well, what are your wishes? What are the wishes?
What is Rick's wishes?
What do you think, Rick?
Well, I want to get it done, but I'm not sure on this, how to proceed on this, you know, because even if he had a change order of $25,000, it's still lower than the second bid.
Still
Right.
$20,000 less.
That's all the more that he can do it, Cindy, by law? That, I mean, he can ask for whatever, but we can
Change
deny
order,
it.
he can ask for a $25,000 change order, but that's
it.
That's it.
If
Capped
you had that
out.
25,000 on that 14,000, and
So
that's
that would be
30.
25,
39,000.
35, that'd be 39, 40,000.
Yeah.
It's 38
And
something.
that's the maximum, but he would have to, even with his bid, he
thought it
would
was
have to
39.
complete that job for that maximum amount of money.
Yep.
It still is 21,000 less than
Yeah.
the
Yeah, he's
next
still
bidder.
quite a bit less than the lower bid.
All right,
next
if the
lower.
low bid is not, if the low bidder is not responsible, or the bid is not made in accordance with the requirements of the law, the bid of the next lowest responsible and responsive bidder may be accepted.
Well, it's a bidding process. He came in the lowest. He knows the rules. It was outlined in the bid. You've talked to him. My recommendation is we go with his bid.
All right,
But
we have
that's up
one
to you.
opinion here now.
It's my opinion.
But Cindy, you said
Speaking a lot of
that
my opinions today.
if something seems
It's one
unreasonable.
of those days.
I want
apparently.
everybody's opinion on this.
So, according to what she just said, if it seems unreasonable, you can go with the next lowest, even though typically we take the lowest, but if it seems not within reason, by law, we can do that.
The next
And
lowest,
if, other than the lowest bid is accepted, the board minutes should clearly document the reasons why.
That you didn't go with lowest bid.
I don't think that
We don't have-
documenting a reason that his bid was so much lower than the other ones is adequate. To me, it's a bidding process.
Company? Does he have the equipment to do the job?
Yes.
Going out without outsourcing equipment?
Yeah, and that, I don't know if he'd hire other people or
That's
rent
up to
other
him.
equipment, that part I don't know.
your next
You know,
lowest bid will come from out of town.
I will second Troy's motion if somebody didn't already, or
All right,
Yeah, my motion is to accept the.
we have a
the bid.
motion by Van Duzen and a second by Hatton.
and it clearly states that the most of a change order could be $25,000,
Correct.
so.
And it would have to be acted on by the
By this
board
board.
before it took place.
Any more discussion? Good discussion. We usually don't have these deals with, it's usually,
It's kind of weird, yeah.
yeah, that's kind of a,
Okay, low is good.
Could be a good one.
make us think, that made us think, that's good.
Saving money.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Get her done.
Guess we awarded the bid to him.
All right.
All
Let
right,
him know.
thank you, Rick.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
You're
Rick.
gonna supervise that job, right?
Yes.
All right, you could hang around and see about damping out here. Number 13, action on a proposed rental dry rinse damp project, and we've been
Rising
dealing with
damp.
this now for several months, and now it's on the agenda. What do we want to do with it? Let's, for refreshment, well, is there a motion on it first off? Let's get a motion and then we can
Well,
discuss it.
I'll make a motion just because we have to get it on the table.
All right, motion by Hatton,
Discussion.
second by
I'll second.
Gable.
And that motion is to proceed.
Yes,
Okay.
it's affirmative.
Yes.
Now let's open it up for discussion. Dollars, what was
Well,
that?
it sounds like I think, even though I seconded it, I think I'm going to go against it because we just have too much, we have to think
have
about the
other
grade
things.
first, the grade on the property first, and,
That, I would agree with that, Lee. We've got grading, we've got some landscaping things to do that are much more, and I would put that
I am in total
more of a
support
high
of the.
priority.
I ditto, that's something I guess I've been working on and brought somebody in to have a look at it, just to know if that could be one of the issues as the grading, and obviously it is. The project estimate was $14,600 to put this in the basement, and anyway, so I would not support that as well, just with, we need to take care of other things.
All right,
I do
we've had
think
some,
For
we've
the
had,
future, though, I do think it might be a possibility of something, for the preservation of the building.
We can always bring that back at some other point in
I
time.
would like also, if we have some of our surrounding counties that go forward with this, to get some input from them, I guess, just same locality, not saying
I
we
did-
need to be the first. I think
Yeah, I
it's
did
okay to
call,
wait.
I called some counties, I've got a hold of one in Minnesota and one, I need to call back another person just to finish up with it, but they were happy with the Reno Drive product. I mean, they said that it seemed to be doing what it's supposed to do, but, it just doesn't sound, I think for us, it's not the priority right now.
Right,
So-
and they may not have grading issues that when they put that in, so.
are we ready to vote? Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Last call, any more discussion? Seeing none? Now, a yes vote would indicate that we will go ahead with it, a no vote will mean that we will not. So all in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Unanimous? No, the motion dies. All right, let's go on to number 14, action to approve a cell phone stipend for seasonal employee for the month of November. Who's requesting a cell phone?
The seasonal employee at Memorial Park, when the motion was initially made to give the stipend, the minutes reflected it was from April through October. This employee stayed on into November, and Mr. Ford is requesting the cell phone stipend be paid for November also. We did not pay it because of the way the original motion was made. He was to be paid April through October, so we stopped the payments after that, and Mr. Ford would like a cell phone stipend for this employee for the time he worked.
Is
in
that a
November.
$40 one or a $25 one?
I think it's 25, just a minute.
So you worked into November. I guess I make a motion to approve that. if it's-
Motion by Gable,
Second,
second by
Van Duzen.
Van Duzen. Any discussion?
We've had this is something we just need to take care of, I think, but we do need to.
$25.
Yeah, we do need to be looking at, I think we need to, and we've talked about this a little bit before, revise our cell phone stipend policy, because cell phone contracts are significantly different nowadays, and, so as we look at that, across the board, this would have to be phased, whatever we come up with would have to be phased in, but right now, it's some stipends are $40, some are,
It's not dependent upon the amount of minutes you use anymore.
yeah,
No.
right, you get these blanket contracts that.
I will tell you that, I've asked the department heads to send me the information on who they want their stipends for, because in order to pay them in January, you guys are going to have to take action on
This might be something, it might be something that we have to phase in to get,
So we may not be paying out stipends in January.
Oh, I don't, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking it might be a longer period of time to phase it in, to whatever the policy is. We haven't
So-
had a chance to talk about it yet.
Yeah,
I'm just-
how are you going to
We don't wanna do
communicate
that today.
with the department heads to get the information you need? I guess, is my,
Somewhere along the
my
line,
gist.
we have to call a halt to adding stipends, and so I would not support this.
There's a simple way of doing that. If we don't get the information from the department heads as to who they would like to have a cell phone, there won't be any cell phone stipends.
so you're going to base your decisions on whether or not that employees.
Yeah,
Well, I think
I'm just mentioning this for discussion, so we don't
I know,
confuse the
but
two
we need to
issues.
move on it.
Right,
It's
but,
going to be left the same as it is right now. But I think what you're
Okay.
saying, Lee, is that we need to reevaluate this down the road
yeah, I do,
about
yeah,
who
that's
gets
what I'm saying.
what, 25 versus
think-
40, and is that
Okay,
amount?
all right.
Yeah, I think the amount is probably the
So-
main thing, given the fact that cell phone contracts are different nowadays than when these were initiated. And then
Well-
the other aspect, it would be good to have some nice hard criteria
Okay.
that say, if this, like in the law enforcement world is one thing, or,
The reasoning why some of these other people have need a cell phone stipend, not have it, need it. And per our union contracts, I'm thinking that was probably part of those contracts
I don't remember
possibly.
right offhand right
I don't
That we probably
remember.
couldn't change
I think
it.
it has been, I can't remember.
So, I've been in support of, I think we really need to take a hard look at these stipends. I think it's kind of gotten a little bit out of control, and we need to really get some better criteria as to who receives it and what amount they're
I
getting.
agree, Brenda. And I think it's a case of, like Commissioner Gable just mentioned, if it's a necessary item for the department head or their employees to be notified after hours, I think should be a determining factor on whether or not we pay for cell phone, or if they're going to be using it in the course of their duties throughout the day.
Well, with my
Right now,
understanding,
I don't think it is part of a union contract, from what I can see right now.
Pretty big.
it was my understanding that we originally granted this to emergency personnel, law enforcement, and some department heads and assistant department heads, and it has grown quite a bit, and I don't consider this an emergency or a life situation. This is more of a convenience.
Well, it's case-by-case basis, Commissioner Waterman. I mean, I think you have to evaluate. I mean, I think our welfare director has a cell phone stipend, I think, right?
Yes.
And so, does she use that? And I'm not singling her out, I'm just using her as an example because she's one that comes to mind. Is she receiving calls after hours? So, I think that those are
For
things
instance,
that we have to look
I do
at.
not receive a cell phone stipend. I use my phone for work all the time, but I don't have any extra charges on my cell phone
Right.
plan. I would not change my plan from what I've got.
Right.
So it's a convenience for me, actually, to be able to look at my email on my phone or take calls if I need to, or texts. But like I said, it's not costing me anything extra.
Well, we as commissioners probably take as many calls as most people and read as many texts and stuff like that. And as far as I am aware, that there is no stipend for any of us.
No,
I think it's something, as Commissioner Gable alluded to, that we can take a look at and we can reevaluate down the road. I don't know if that's
Okay.
even something we have to discuss right now, but
I just wanted to distinguish the two issues, so we're
Okay.
taking care of
he
it.
made the motion and I seconded.
So here is our list of cell phone stipends. I mean, it's on 2 pages, goes all the way down and up. There's a lot, yes.
Probably another, at least one more that's had a request, that's made a request.
Well, let me ask the young lady from the PO, do you get a cell phone stipend, or do you get it once provided by the PO?
I don't.
Well, it's just something, I've been in support of taking it in, and that's why I kept this out. I went back and pulled it from our meeting when we approved that, and how many that we have, and I just honestly think that's somewhere where you could do a little cost saving on the county. And it simply because of phone plans are different now than what they used to be, so.
Yep.
I would just simply think we need to take
But
a
we do
look
have
at
a
it. but-
motion and a second on the board to approve this November payment, I guess.
That's what we're at.
What we're at.
That's what we're at right now.
Can we go
Brought
off
up the
on a
general idea to
different
distinguish,
idea?
just so we knew what we were talking about.
Down the road,
Motion and a
something like
second to approve
To
this.
approve the November stipend for.
And that's for $25.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, any more discussion? Any more discussion? See none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion
No.
carries.
Charlie?
Okay, we have one no.
I got it.
Would you like that recorded?
Well, I will record
We
it.
will record, okay? All right, very good. But the motion did carry. And this is something that we will take a look at down the road, and I think it's just gotten out of hand myself. I think it's crazy. Anyway, let's go on to number 15, action to authorize the chair to sign contract for 2020 of the Community Health Service, and the Community Health Service contract is in your packet, and I'm assuming everybody read that puppy page by page, word for word, and I could ask questions about it, and everybody would be able to tell me exactly what it was.
It is a
make a motion.
continuing contract.
And I would second that.
Oh, okay.
We have a motion by Gable and a second by Waterman. Apparently, they have studied it.
It is a continuing contract that we approve each year. Our insurance company is on board with this. They know what needs to be done. We were advised of the increase so that we could adjust the 2020 budget, so everything should be included. They are increasing it by 2.5%, which is consistent with fiscal year 2020 state salary policy.
And that number is $13,889.47. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Believe me, in that contract, they've got their I's dotted and their T's crossed. It's pretty thorough. Anything else? Any other discussion? Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Number 18 is discussion possible action to approve revised memorial. Oh, no. 17. We're
There's
gonna back
nothing,
up.
nothing today, so.
Okay, nothing on
Just
17.
putting that on there
Yep,
to,
till we get-
in the event we have.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, 18, discussion possible action to approve a revised Memorial Park campground manager's contract. Have you got anything for us today, Commissioner Van Duzen? and-
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Waterman and I have met. We have come up with some questions that we have on that contract. We would like to meet with the rest of the commissioners to discuss that in executive session.
That would be a
Contract
consensus.
negotiation.
Okay.
Today?
Today.
Yes,
Okay,
today.
we could have an executive
I
session.
think we're close to that.
Okay, so then let's go on to 19, action to approve claims for payment today. Do we have any claims?
Nothing for 19 or 20.
We like that. Action to approve personnel changes, and I have nothing on that either.
I did receive some that came in shortly after I had sent
Okay.
things out. These are all full-time employees that are due anniversary step increases, all from the state, same office. Heidi Selkert is appraiser 2, she'll go to step 11, 22.46 per hour. Melissa Sears is appraiser 2, she'll go to step 10, 22.14 per hour. And Allison Forbush is appraiser 2, she'll go to step 10, 22.24.
Heidi Ellison and Melissa.
Correct.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gable, second by Commissioner Waterman. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. I have no travel
No travel
requests.
requests, no.
Okay. Public notice, possible quorums, that the commission could be at the Watertown VA Clinic. That's on Thursday, December 5th. And like I said, I'm sorry, but I will not be there, but I surely would hope that some of our commissioners would get over there.
I
I
will
will
be.
be
It's a
there.
good addition to our community. Two truths and a lie, or two lies and a truth, or no, it's two truths and a lie. Opioid,
Opioid.
they've been advertising that lately. That's on December 5th as well. That's Thursday, and that's at 8 p.m. at the D.D.
No,
Miller.
it's 6:50, it goes till 8. Is it 6:15 or 6:30? I was just gonna look that up quick,
6:15.
but
Six- 6:15 to
Yeah,
8.
light meals.
Yep.
And I think that's in the lunchroom, isn't it?
No, it's at the DD, well,
It's in the-
Miller, well, this is what it says, D.D. Miller.
I think
That's the
they're
last
serving a light
information I
lunch
got.
or light dinner or something.
I think they start out with a light
Lunch.
dinner or lunch or something in the cafeteria, then they go to the D.D. Miller.
yeah.
Also on
Similar
the December 6th, that would be Friday, there's a forum in reference to CAFOs, and this is on December 6th out at the Cottington County Extension Complex, and there could be a quorum of commissioners there. And that is sponsored by
Code of Rural Action.
Dakota Rural Action, and I did communicate with Luke and Todd in reference to, I said, should some of us, should we be there? And he said, well, you probably will know a lot of things, you know, that they're going to be discussing. But he said, it's always good, you know, he learns something. And so he didn't encourage to not go, so there you go. But I think there was a cutoff date when you're supposed to notify them if you are going to go.
Kind of
There's
it by invite or RSVP.
I think they invited all the commissioners in the surrounding.
Yeah, kind of local officials. The
anything you don't
cutoff
have in the
date to RSVP. Seating is limited to reserve your spot by 5 PM Tuesday, November 26th. So that time frame has gone past, but that doesn't necessarily mean if they have an opening, you could probably still call and get in if you so wished.
All right, let's go on then. Is there any old business that we need to discuss at this point in time? Any old business, any mature business? Any old business? Any old business? Seeing none, is there any new business? Any new business? Anything to bring to the board today, any new business? Let's go on then to the open. Any comments from the public? Any commissioner comments? Yeah, it got pretty slim out here.
Well, I would
Here's your
make
chance.
make a motion that we go into executive session under contract negotiation.
We have a motion to go into
Contracts.
executive session. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Motion by Hatton, second by Commissioner Waterman. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 We are in executive session. Okay? And there will not be any action afterwards, to my knowledge, right?
Yes, that's correct.